Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Haze. In this video, we'll be going over the races of my fantasy RPG. We will be talking about their looks, characters, and habitats. So, who lives in the northern continent of the world? Let's find out. In the vast and numerous regions of Mysteria, we can find, as one would expect, humans. Those crafty and plentiful creatures, similar to you and me, can be found in almost every place where one can live. They are quite adaptive and very resourceful. Neither temperature nor moisture causes too many problems, with the exception of edge cases, of course. Humans can be found from the southmost land of Morosia to the scorching desert in the land of Nur and everywhere in between. Humans are also the most uniform of all the races, as most differences are limited to the skin color. Of course, depending on the region, they wear different clothes that reflect their culture and climate, but stripped of that, they are quite similar. Whereas in the south they wear fur to keep themselves warm, in the warmer places it serves a more decorative function. There are two elements that can greatly impact humans' appearance. There is the mist and the magic, although some would say that they are one and the same. Those who spend a lot of time in the mist, like the inhabitants of Mebelands for example, can develop changes that make them adaptive to that specific environment. Their skin becomes embedded with small crystals, or in some extreme cases covered with them. Those crystals are in principle very similar to the glimmer that mist leaves behind, but removing them causes a lot of pain and is generally not practiced. Their eyes are also changed as they are uniformly opalizing. They do allow them to see better in the thicket of the mist, but outside of it they hinder their vision. The other change is caused by the usage of magic, as depending on the domain, the type of magic, spellcasters become almost embedded with this energy. Their skin and body changes, but that is a topic for another video. Let me know if you're interested in the comments. The other very prominent race that lives in the world of Haze are the Beastly. It is a collective name for all the human-animal hybrids that live on the planet. They are, as one could expect, all very unique, but most can be categorized by two things: the type of animal and how human they are. The range of changes is very broad, as it can go from simply excessive hairiness to full-on animal with the human intellect. The closer you are to a human, the less you are treated as a beastly. That, compared with a very tribal lifestyle, usually causes problems for the one in question. When it comes to the type of animal that certain beastly is, it often depends on the location. There are beastly that have bear elements in places where bears live, the snake beastly in the desert, rabbit folk in the forest, and so on. Because of that, beastly are often bigger and stronger than humans, but they are also less adaptive. They thrive in habitats close to their natural one, but the further they travel, the more problematic it becomes. It is not difficult to imagine a huge bearman who would melt in the desert, or a lizardman freezing in the cold tundra. Where beastly folk experience difficulties far from their home, Virdis are forced to fight for their lives. The plant folks of this world are numerous but not abundant. They can be found in every settlement, but good luck finding them on the road. Most of the Virdis resemble a person made of plant-like growth. They generally have control over their body shape, so they can look very different from each other, but depending on what plant they grew out of, they would have elements of it in their body. Even though they are humanoid, they are completely devoid of flesh. Because of that, they don't eat, breathe, and sleep. They do need to extract nutrients from the ground, and it takes them around 6 to 10 hours to do so, so in a way they do need to rest. It is a balance thing. As with every plant, they need water, and because of that, they are practically unheard of in the harsher regions of the continent. There are ways for them to live in the desert and in the freezing south, but that privilege comes only for the wealthy type. Because of their anatomy, they can live for many hundreds of years, and in most cases they don't really die but rather grow roots in their place of final rest. Their culture, life and death is a topic for another video, but for now let's just say that they are pretty much immortal. Not unkillable, but immortal. They are most abundant in Verdalia, a giant forest that most call their home. In size, they are generally very similar to beastly, and because of their longevity, they have a very different view on life. The last race that will be playable in the first rulebook are the artifacts. They are the automatons that through various means gained consciousness. Originally made as humanoid machines, most artifacts served some purpose. Some were made to work in factories, other in house service, and some were even used as a combat droids. Automatons were very common in the ancient times, but nowadays only the wealthiest can afford them. They are incredibly difficult to make and only few know how to do it. Those automata in most cases don't need any maintenance, and because their source of power regenerates, they can work indefinitely. It is generally agreed upon that if one of these automatons over hundreds of years doesn't break, it could become sentient. From that moment, they are no longer automatons, they become artifacts. They don't feel pain, cold, and hunger, and at that point they are like a big, low-maintenance toddlers. They learn about the world, and with time they become competent living creatures. Again, they are as complex as Virdis, so they will receive their own video when the time comes. Artifacts are generally immortal, but also the loneliest. They are the least numerous race in the world of Haze with no culture of their own. They have no cities and no districts within the existing cities, but those who live among others are generally well off. Their knowledge of the past and the ageless experience allows them to master anything with time. And they have a lot of it. With that, we went over the main 4 races of the Haze world. Tell me in the comments below what race should I cover in depth first. See you next time, and remember, there is more to come in Haze, the Crystal Mist adventure.